repealed, Obamacare is going to replace everything. Basically, what's going to happen with Obamacare, it's the first big step toward government-run healthcare. Everybody's going to be on government healthcare. In fact, if we don't change it in the next 2 to 3 years, everybody's going to start getting thrown onto state Medicaid rolls. If you think Illinois is broke right now, hang in there for 3 years. So that is the plan. Now, I refuse to believe that it will be upheld. Look, I got in trouble, no surprise. A month ago, I spoke in front of a group and I said directly, are you prepared to go to jail? Are you prepared to go to jail? Are you prepared to go to jail to defend your freedoms? If we live in a country where our government can force me to buy something simply because I'm breathing, I refuse to believe we live in that kind of country. And we laugh when Justice Scalia brought up the broccoli example. We laugh. But it was a lawyer in the Justice Department who was asked, does this mean, in Obama's Justice Department, she was asked on the individual mandate, does this mean the government, because it's good for you, could force you to eat broccoli? You know what her answer was? It depends. No exaggeration. We can't live, we will not live in that kind of country where our government, forces us to eat broccoli or forces us to buy health care.
People don't go bankrupt because they can't eat broccoli, whereas most of our bankruptcies are because of health care.
Again, interesting thought. I think a lot of our bankruptcies are because people aren't working. Put Americans back to work.
Most of our bankruptcies, it's a fact. Most of our bankruptcies are because of health care, people going bankrupt on health care.
Thoughts, issues, questions? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll repeat it. Thank you. Actually, a very good question. 1 second, then a very good. Hold that thought. Am I bothering you guys? Wait. Hey, stay right there. Don't move. Hey, ma'am, hold your question. Let me answer this real fast. And then hold that question. He asked a great question. You asked a very important question. This is a really interesting question. The gentleman there, what's your first name? Said, well, what do you mean? You're saying it's our fault because we got to grow up and we sent them there. Well, we sent them there and then they changed. It's their fault. Good answer. Here's the problem. We've stopped generally paying attention over the last 40 or 50 years to what's going on. It wasn't our fault necessarily that we voted for them and sent them there. The problem is, once we sent them there, we stopped paying attention and we just keep sending the same people back. The average congressman, 98% of us get reelected like that. We don't even think about it. So every election that we kept reelecting them as they did start to change, we stopped paying attention. And then they end up being there 10, 20, 30, 40 years. I don't think we should vote for anybody, Republican or Democrat, that's been in Washington or Springfield that long. I don't want professional politicians. Yeah, so it's not our fault for voting for them initially. The problem is we've let them all stay there too long. We have to pay attention every election. And if you're going to vote this year for a congressman or somebody or a state rep down in Springfield that's been there 20 or 30 years, don't. Send them back home. I don't care what party they are. Send them back home and make them get a real job. Now, thank you, sir. Great question. Right here asked a very important question. I'm talking a lot about Medicare and Social Security. If I want to replace them, what do I want to replace them with? Great question. I don't want to replace them. Let me make that first important point. And let me just take Medicare. Stop. I don't want to replace Medicare. I want to change it, and I want to save it. What I do know is we've got 10,000, hear me everybody, 10,000 baby boomers retiring every day. They're living a lot longer than they lived 60 years ago. Hey, something's got to change. Raise your hand if you don't, in fact, raise your hand if you don't think we should change anything when it comes to Medicare or Social Security. Raise your hand. We don't change anything. Woo! It's probably the only thing we're going to agree on. So, something's got to change. What I want to get us back to is this. I want Medicare to be what Medicare was designed to be when it was set up in the 60s. To be a safety net for the needy. I want government to play a role. I want government always to be there for the needy. But like everything government's done, that's what it was set up to do. Now, everybody, as they reach a certain age, gets on Medicare. You got my mom and dad. Hey, Jackie. You got my mom and dad who live in a really nice retirement home in Barrington. Now they're primarily on Medicare. We've got to get Medicare back to taking care of the needy. And again, the rest of us need to begin to assume more of the cost for our own health care. Tough message. Not everybody's going to agree with it. The Democrats won't agree with that. But if we don't begin to do something like that, it won't be around. Now, I voted for the Ryan budget. And in the Ryan budget, they talked about a Medicare reform. If you're over 55, nothing's going to change. But if you're under 55, when you reach retirement, instead of just fee for service and it's a blank check for Medicare, we're going to give you a certain amount of money each year, and you, like a good consumer, are going to go out and shop for your health care. A good proven way to begin to drive down costs. Again, putting us in charge of our health care. But I don't want that for everybody. Government has to be the ultimate backstop for the truly needy. That's what I want to do with Medicare. Keep going. Those folks are the folks government will always be there. So in this big private marketplace of healthcare where all of us become more consumers, for those folks who can't find a niche there, they've got a catastrophic condition, they've got a pre-existing condition, they're extremely low income. Those are the folks where government will always be there for them. They will be their healthcare government. No, they can do that well before they go bankrupt. So when you and I get 55, and depending on how each of our situations are, we've got a menu of many different things to choose from. I want to go out here and shop for healthcare. No, I'm just going to be on government healthcare. Even the Ryan plan leaves it out. You can go do something or you can stay on traditional Medicare.
Hey, Joe, come up over here.
So, sort of sense. And then, one more point on Social Security. Again, this is another one politicians don't like to talk about. I'm worried that Social Security is not going to be around in 20 to 30 to 40 years. And again, demographically, this makes sense. So how do we fix that? Well, I think we need to set up a system where younger people, as they begin to retire down the road, they can begin to plan for their own retirement. Period. Again, putting us in control of our lives. Always having government there as a backstop. Doesn't that make sense? Instead of guaranteed unlimited government benefits for everybody. Can't afford it, and it won't work. Yes, sir.
Federally mandated healthcare insurance is there. State mandated auto insurance is good. Not using state rights as an answer. Why? Why do you feel one and the other is good and one's bad?
A lot of it is a constitutional issue.
Not state rights. Don't throw that in.
But no, not state rights, but state governments have much different charters than the federal government does. My biggest beef against the federal health insurance mandate is it's not in the Constitution. There is no power in the Constitution, hold on, that gives the federal government that power. In fact, our founders were very cognizant of this. They put a lot of these powers, they gave a lot of these powers to the state governments. The state governments have powers to police you and imprison you. And there are literally a number of rights that state governments can trample on that our founders never wanted the federal government to go near. We've done it for years. But so the constitutional distinction is totally different than me. There's nothing in the Constitution that our founders gave the federal government that power to. State governments were given great authority to do darn near anything, and the people in those states need to push back.
If the Supreme Court upholds the Constitution, does that mean you will support?
Great question. The question is, if the Supreme Court upholds the individual mandate, I don't want to paraphrase your question, will I support it or what will I do? Yeah, I think if the Supreme Court upholds the mandate, then I am going to fight tooth and nail to do everything I can to repeal Obamacare.
So your problem with it that is not constitutional.
No, I said that's my primary problem. My secondary problem is, my primary problem with Obamacare is, if you think we're bankrupt now, we'll be 10 times more bankrupt within 20 years. It will be the single fastest thing that bankrupts this country. That's my biggest problem with it. My biggest problem with the individual mandate is, I don't think that part of it's constitutional. So, but if the court upholds the mandate, I'm going to keep until my last dying breath trying to overturn the law. Because I think the law will bankrupt the country, it will cripple small businesses, it will bankrupt states. I got to make this point. I got to make this point. Understand, if we don't repeal Obamacare, the next great move in the next 2 to 3 years is, in every state in the country, hundreds of thousands of people are going to be pushed on state Medicaid rolls. Hundreds of thousands. And all of these states like California and Illinois and Rhode Island, all of these states that are in financial trouble right now are going to sink. So, yeah, I've got big problems with Obamacare. The constitutional aspect of the mandate is what I'm so against. Yes, sir. But let me make one important point, because you asked a really good question. It seems like all Republicans do is say, I want to repeal Obamacare. I want to repeal Obamacare. But what do you want to replace it with? That's always a great question. I do want to repeal Obamacare. And I want to replace it with reforms that I think Republicans and Democrats can support. tort reform, allowing people to shop across state lines for health coverage, health savings accounts, allowing us to be more in charge of our own health care costs, and setting up a Medicare program that will really work for the long haul. Yes, sir. Yeah. See, hey guys, this isn't hard. Here's what I want everybody to do. Right now, I want everybody, when I say 3, I want everybody to smile and clap your hands 4 times. I mean this, do this for me. Everybody smile and clap your hands 4 times when I say 3. 1, 2, 3. Stop. Okay, this room is full of Republicans, Independents, and Democrats. Gosh darn it, none of this should be personal. Okay? Wherever you believe it, respect the other side, but believe it. Here's what I believe. The biggest blessing and problem in this country is that more and more and more and more and more and more of us are living longer and longer and longer and longer. That's a great thing, but it's a huge problem because as a country, if we don't figure out how to deal with it, we're broke, we're done. So, none of this should be personal. Here's what President Obama wants to do with it. He wants, it's a legitimate viewpoint. President Obama wants everybody put on government-run health care. Everybody. And I can tell you, if he were here today and he were honest, and I know sometimes that's hard to believe, if he were honest, that's what he would tell you. And there are a lot of people in this country that believe that. I believe the exact opposite. We got to get to a place in this country where our government is there to take care of the needy and the rest of us, because remember, in your world and my world, your taxes are a lot lower, so we get to keep more of our money. In our world, the rest of us are out there in a marketplace shopping for our health care, taking care of us. 2 dramatically different visions. Pick the vision you like better and work hard for that vision. Look, folks, I'm going to spend a lot of time this election saying, here's why you should not vote for Joe Walsh. Here's one reason. If you want to keep Obamacare, if you would like to move everybody to government-run health care, do not vote for me. Don't vote for me. If you truly want to raise taxes on whatever we call the wealthy, do not vote for me. Pick your side, and work hard for that side.
I just had a question. You just brought up how you want the health care coverage to go across, people to be able to buy over state lines from different states. Wouldn't that make it a federal issue? Wouldn't that make it a federal issue if people are interstate commerce laws? Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm saying how can the Obamacare be unconstitutional? If it allows folks to buy health insurance from other states.
Because I'm talking about people who have already entered, say, the marketplace. Mm-hmm. So they've entered the marketplace to buy insurance. They've made the decision they're going to purchase insurance. Once you've made that decision, you're in the marketplace. So, and again, look, I'm one of the first ones that would say the Supreme Court over the years has already bent the Commerce Clause plenty, but and so there's precedent that says once you're already in the marketplace shopping for a product, then the Commerce Clause can come into play. And all I'm saying is, if you're in that marketplace and you're shopping, I want to open up your shopping ability as much as possible. That's different than the mandate, which says, I'm going to force you to enter the marketplace. Much different. I'm going to force you to buy insurance. But I'm talking about people who already want to
But the federal government would still be able to regulate it.
Well, and you're right, and the insurance industry right now is a state-by-state industry. But even the insurance industry would like this, they'd like this freedom. They'd like this freedom in there so that they can get more consumers from all over the place.
Should everybody have health insurance?
Should everybody?
Health insurance.
That's actually a really, son of a gun, that's an interesting way to put it. Should everybody have health
And
insurance?
then do you service them in the hospital if they don't?
I've got my answer.
Right.
Well, hold on. Let's hear different answers. Should everybody have health insurance? Wait, is that the right way to put it? No. Well, hold on. You say no. Why do you say no? He says no personal choice. How would you respond to that?
You have a heart attack and you're taken to Alexian Brothers Hospital. Do they service you?
You have a heart attack, you don't have insurance, you're taken to the hospital.
My world, if I didn't have insurance or I couldn't pay for it,
I can't hear you.
Hold on, hold on.
In my world, if I didn't have insurance or I didn't have the money to pay for it, no, they wouldn't. That's my choice.
So you want to die? So you'll die.
It's my choice. It's my choice.
Yeah.
It's my choice. It's my choice.
But what happens if they take you to the hospital? The hospital has the, I don't know.
I said in a perfect world, sir, I know they're going to give me service because they're mandated. That's not right.
So